Hey, what's going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here to break down the 3-game CSGO main slate on Saturday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos breaking out NBA, NFL, PGA, and esports daily fantasy sports slates. Esports including Call of Duty, League of Legends, and this one, Counter-Strike CSGO. If you guys are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, would appreciate if you could leave a 5-star review. If you're watching this on YouTube, we are now at 3.35 thousand subscribers. So again, thank you guys for all the support. And if you enjoy the content, leave a like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell. Hitting the notification bell does really help me out to continue to grow this YouTube channel. So with that all out of the way, let's jump into the video. Before we get into the players and the prices, what we can do is look back at my lineup here from Friday's slate. So Friday was just an off day for me. You had some outlier performances, which we'll review in a sec. But yeah, this is my final lineup. I went Hunter in the captain spot was simple. I was banking on that game staying close. So that's why I played one player on each side. I went the EG side because they're cheaper. They won pretty easily first map, but then they lost the next two. And then the NIP guys, they get lost pretty easily there to Vitality in a game that was basically a coin flip. So yeah, it was just an off day for me. But let's go over some of the numbers here. So this game was more how you expected it to go, at least for like the Navi side, right? It was simple and electronic carrying the roster. That's pretty expected, right? So nothing too crazy there. On the G2 side, it was Hunter and Kenny S slightly positive, but yeah, they lost 2-1, so nothing crazy there. But if we look at the NIP Vitality game, this is where you see a definitely an outlier performance, right, from Shox. Now, I did mention, if I was going to had to pick a second guy, it would be Shox. I wasn't really confident in that, but he just, out of nowhere, just took over. Now, I didn't get to watch a whole lot of that game, but 52 and 26, double positive. And then you had Zywoo, who they won 2-0, only go +8, right? So that is not normal. Back-to-back, kind of off games for Zywoo. And yeah, Shox going +26. Again, that's definitely an outlier game. So when you have weird stuff like that happen, it's just more often than not, I'm probably not going to cash in GPP. So that is so hard to predict, like in a performance like that from Shox, who has been so up and down. So yeah, and then finally the MIBR versus EG game. Yeah, the MIBR guys were low owned. If you want that stack, you're probably in good shape. Now, I did mention TRK as a potential value play. I didn't go that route, but he went +16. So yeah, if you played him, you were in really, really good shape. I did mention, I think when I mentioned playing someone cheap in the captain spot, it was TRK. So if you want that route, you were probably in pretty good shape. The EG side, again, they won pretty easily first map and then just choked the last two maps. You had, again, more of an outlier performance here with Ethan leading the way. Sure, Ethan's not a bad player, but he's not going to carry, like, it's going to be Cirque and Breeze at the top of that leaderboard almost all the time when EG are playing. So Ethan leading the way, again, more of an outlier performance. We have stuff like that happen. It's just, yeah, more often than not, I'm probably not going to cash unless you get lucky and land on one of those guys. So, again, you had outlier performance from Shox and outlier performance from Ethan. Whereas, yeah, Cirque, Breeze are the guys you expect to do good. Cirque had come into this game in great form, just an off game for him. But yeah, that's really the look back there. So now what we can do is we can look at the odds. We only have odds up for one game. It's Complexity and FaZe, the early game. We have FaZe Clan at -190 favorites. I don't know. Complexity's been playing really good. I don't know about that line. I think this one is, I would say it's a coin flip. So I do like both sides. I think the FaZe side is just going to be a lot higher owned because, again, I talk about time in and time out. The favorites are just always way more popular. Even if it's only like not that big of favorites, like -190 or not huge favorites. But FaZe Clan will be at least double the ownership of these Complexity guys. So I think that's an interesting way to get different in GPPs. Again, a guy like BlameF, who I've been talking about a lot, has been playing unbelievable Counter-Strike. But let's first talk with on the FaZe side here. So we have Nico at 8.8, Brokey at 7.4, Cold Zero at 7.2, Rain at 6.8, BMS at 6.2. So BMS has been a little bit up and down, but he's flashed some upside here on this FaZe roster. He's carried this team a few games now. Let's talk about the guys in the middle first. So Brokey, Cold, and Rain. When those three are priced about the same, I always go Cold Zero. Now he's the optimal play of those three guys, right? But he's going to be the most popular too. So I think if you're just focusing on those three guys in the middle, Cold Zero is definitely your cash game play. He is the second best player on this team in my opinion. He's got the second best numbers overall, and I think he's got the second most upside. So I do like hold a good amount of those middle three guys. Now BMOS again, his price is coming up, so that definitely makes him a lot more risky. But he's had some decent games. Now it's a little bit annoying that Draftkings doesn't update these games. Right, the last game they have on here is for 6/13, but FaZe played a couple games before that, or after that, I should say. That last game against Vitality, BMOS had a really solid game. He went, 41 and 32. So that's pretty impressive. The game before that, what did he go? Let's see. The 2-1 ends wasn't great, right? 44 and 52. So again, he is a little bit more up and down, but he's had games where he's looked pretty good, right? That Navi game, he carried the team, went plus 15. The Vitality game looked really good as well. So the price is coming up there to the point now where it's just a GPP play for me. And then Nico at 8.8K. This is interesting. We have Simple on the slate. We have ZywOo on the slate. So I think those guys are definitely going to eat up ownership. I still think Nico's going to be pretty popular, though, just because FaZe are favorites and he's below 9K. So, I do like Nico a good amount here. I'm interested to see what his ownership is going to be like compared to Simple, compared to ZywOo. I think it'll be all somewhat close, those three guys. I think Nico is certainly a good play. They're favorites. If you want to go more that cash game approach, right, it's probably Cold Zero and Nico for me. Rain just below Cold, no interest. Brokey just above Cold. I think it's just more of a contrarian play if you want to get off Cold Zero and play FaZe. Now let's talk about complexity. So a guy I really like is Blameth. The price at 8.4K, that really stands out for hit. I mean, you can just go back and look at his recent games. He has been on fire. Now, I think this game he wasn't amazing against Navi. Let's see. Oh, no, he still went 48 and 34. Literally, you can go every single game that they've played. He has been just carrying them. 66 and 37 there against OG. Now, his game where they got 0-2 against Force, I think he was still positive. Yeah, he still went positive 7 in a game they went 2-0. Or they got 2-0. These other two games he did really good too. I'm not going to go through them because I already have in previous videos. But just Blameth has been on fire, and you're getting him at a really decreased price point. I love him. I really, really like him on the slate. I think you can play both him and Nico if you think this game stays close, right? That's always a possibility to play players on both sides of the game. It's just, how do you think the slate pans out, right? But I do like Blameth. I think because they're underdogs, he's just going to go low owned. But I like him a lot. He has just been playing really, really, you could argue right now he's one of the best Counter-Strike players. For this last month, what he's been playing, he has really carried this roster. Config, Oboe, and Poison are next here. Config at 7.2, Oboe at 6.8, Poison at 6.4K. I think they're all decent plays, but I think the next guy I've mentioned is Config. He has the next best numbers. He's priced close to Oboe, close to Poison, so he's a pretty aggressive player, right? If you look at those numbers, 0.78 kills per round. That's a lot of kills per round. So he's, again, initiating a lot of those gunfights, whereas Poison, still good numbers, right? 0.69, 0.62 as far as kills per round. Deaths per round, Oboe, decent as well. Obviously, Rush is terrible at 0.58 and 0.65, so not someone I really look to unless you think Complexity wins 1-2-0. All in all, I think you can make an argument for those top four guys, but it's definitely Blameth for me first. And then if you're going to make me choose the next one, it would be Config. Not saying Oboe and Poison are out of play. I think they're okay options, but it's those top two guys, and again, especially Blameth for me on the complexity side. Next, let's talk about Vitality and Na'Vi. So back-to-back bad games here for ZywOo. Now they're matched up against Na'Vi. This is going to be an interesting game. We don't have odds out for it. I mean, they're two of the better teams for sure in CS:GO. If you look at their history, it's dead even, right? 7-7. Both are in we've won 3 of the last 5, so they're about the same form. I think this one will be the Vegas odds when they come out. I think it'll be almost a coin flip. I'm going to be it's going to be interesting to see what Zywoo's ownership is going to be. He's let people down in back-to-back slates after being amazing for like a month stretch. So, yeah, I like him at 9K. Him, Simple, and Nico are the studs in the slate, and all three look pretty good. It's just, you're going to have to make some tough decisions unless I think you can play all three of those guys, but then you'd have to play someone probably cheap in the captain spot or take a shot on a couple cheap guys. But yeah, I have interest in Zywoo again. He really carries this roster if you look at his numbers compared to everyone else in Vitality. 0.83 kills per round, 0.61 deaths per round. Everyone else is negative, besides Shocks, whose numbers went up a little bit after going double positive there today. Shocks to 6.6. I think he's going to be popular, right? People just look at that most recent game. Now, it's not up here yet, but obviously they saw that he went double positive if people are following CSGO. So I think he's going to be pretty popular the first price. I think he's not a bad play, right? 6.68 is cheap. But if I think the ownership gets up in there enough, then I think there's definitely pivots for off guys I think would be a lot lower owned that have just as much upside. Again, the other guys' Vitality besides Zywoo are so up and down. So if you want to go back to the wall there for Shocks, I get it. I just think the ownership will be inflated. Then we have Na'Vi. So Simple 9.2, Electronic at 8K. Now they're back to their prices like they were 2 slates ago. When they're priced this close, I'm just going to give that just a Simple there over Electronic. Now I think you can play both. Again, these two really carry the roster. If you look at their numbers compared to everyone else, Simple, one of the best, if not the best player in CSGO, 0.86 kills per round, 0.60 deaths per round. Electronic, 0.73 and 0.65. And everyone else in this team is very negative. So, yeah, if Na'Vi is winning, and where the productions come from, it's those top 2 guys. So that is good, right? They're not a balanced team at all. It's come from Simple. It's coming from Electronic. I think Simple is probably the top play of those spend ups with him, Nico, and Zywoo. If we're just looking at cash games, right? But yeah, like if Vitality wins this one 2-0, right? Simple has a floor of about 40-50. So there's no guarantee he's going to put up big numbers. But for a 9.2K price point, that does look really good. And again, I think you can play Electronic with him. If you're going to make him pick one, though, it's got to be Simple for me when they're only about $1,200 difference. Electronic's been in really good form. He had a bounce back game today. He was low owned today, so if you want that route, that paid off you. So I have some interest in Electronic, but definitely way more interest in Simple. The other 3, it's always kind of the same story for me. If you think Na'Vi wins 1-2-0, that's the only way I would consider those guys. If this game goes 3 maps, there's a very good chance none of those guys get you there. So that really wraps up for that game. Now let's talk about EG and Furia. We don't have the odds up for this one. I don't know. This is where I'm kind of taking a stand. Again, I've talked about a lot here, but I really do think Furia are the best team in CSGO. Now, if you look at the recent games, EG have won 15-3, but I want to say it's a little bit skewed because so a lot of these games were in 2019. I'm not sure of the rosters at that point. So, the last time they played wasn't back in January, or was it March? Yeah. Either way, I know EG have been, had success against this Furia team, but I like the Furia team more. So let's dig into it. Let's talk about the EG side first. Now, the prices again in these guys, they look really good. Cirque at 7K, Breeze at 7K, and Ethan at 6.6. The prices did not move on these guys. Now, you saw the big game for Ethan today. I think that's going to raise his ownership. For me, personally, I would much prefer getting to Breeze, much prefer getting to Cirque. Yeah, I think that's more of an outlier performance from Ethan. Not saying he's a bad player, but Breeze and Cirque are definitely better on this team. And with the price about the same, I'm just going to go those 2 guys above Ethan there. So those would be the 2 guys to look to. Tariq and Stanislaw, stay away unless you think EG wins 1-2-0. But let's talk about the Furia side. So I've been talking them up a lot. I know they did lose to MIBR, but the last game they did win against who they played, Liquid 2-1. I really like the prices in these guys. K Serrato at 7.8, Henny at 7.6, Yuri at 7.4. Those 3 just look really, really good for their prices. We know where the production's coming from in this team. It's those 3 guys. Now, Art and Vinny have actually been decent recently, too. They've had some decent games, but those top 3 guys really do have the upside, and you're getting them at nice discounts, right? All under 8K. You can look at their numbers. They have really good numbers. If you look at HLTV.org, Yuri 0.75, kills per round 0.62, deaths per round, K Serrato 0.72 and 0.56. Henny at 0.7 and 0.56. So those three look really good. Art is negative, and Vinny negative as well. But the thing with Art is, he's a very aggressive player. So when he's winning those initial gunfights, he can put up a decent score, right? We saw 86 there against Genji. We saw 66 there against Liquid. So I still think he's viable, but when he's priced close enough to Yuri, close enough to Henny, Cacerado, I just give the edge to those three guys. Now, Vinny's a value pop option I think you can look to. Again, I feel pretty confident in this Furia team. So if they do win this one 2-0, then Vinny would obviously be a viable punt there. Again, that's where you're looking for those cheap options. You want that 2-0 bonus, the plus 20. So I think he is viable for that reason. He's someone I'm definitely considering as a cheap option. So yeah, let's do a brief overview of the slate. For cash games, I think you're going to want to probably, my targets would be, I think, Nico and Cold Zera. I think Blame F is still viable in cash games just because how well he's been playing. I think it's Zywoo and Simple in that game. And then it's probably the Furia guys for me, Cacerado, Henny, and Yuri. Those would be the guys I would consider for cash games for a captain target. And then you're probably going to have to play one cheap guy. And go, if you play one of those cheap options, go with the team that you're the most confident in that wins 2-0. For me, that's going to be Furia, but that's, again, just me that's my personal opinion. For GPPs, again, I like the complexity side. Blame F, really like that price. Don't mind pairing them with Config if that's a route you want to go. Again, Zywoo and Simple obviously look good in the Vitality Navi game. If you want other options, it's Electronic for me on the Vitality side. It's almost a dart throw there, but I think Shocks will garner some ownership after that last big game. The EG side, the prices do look good in these guys, Cirque and Breeze especially, but I'm personally going to go with the Furious side. I really like Cacerado, Henny, and Yuri at their respective prices. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for the video, guys. If you have been enjoying the content so far, I'd really appreciate it if you could like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell. Again, hitting the notification bell does really help me out to continue to grow this channel. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, I would appreciate if you could leave a 5-star review. If you guys are interested in Call of Duty content, I'm going to have a video up right after this for Saturday's slate. We have a nice 4-game slate. Really excited for that one. So thanks again for having to come and check the video. Hope you guys all have a good night, and I will see you all in the next one.